Hey, Mahnaim from Memberstack here, and welcome to Memberscript 194. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a simple to-do list application like this using Memberstack's data tables. So users will be able to mark an item off as completed. They can also delete an item or create a whole completely new item like this. All right, let me show you how to set that up inside of Memberstack and Webflow. So first things first, what you're going to need to do is to add Memberscript 194, and it should look like this. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link to that code should be in the description below. And if you're watching this on the Memberstack site, then you should have already seen the code. You can either add this site-wide or on a specific page, depending on your specific use case. Okay, so now in Memberstack, we are going to create a whole new table, and you're going to make sure that it has the following rules. You're going to give it a table name, and then the rules will be as follows. Any member can create a task, but only the member belonging to that task can either read, update, or delete the tasks. And then within the table, you are going to make sure you have the following fields. So you're going to have a text field, which is going to be required, completed, the member reference, and then a created at date, and then an updated at date. All right. Let me show you how to set this up all inside of Webflow. Once you've created your table and you now have your table name and your table key, you're going to copy over your table key from Memberstack. So over here, if you go back to the tables and settings, you'll see your table key. And this is what you're going to copy over and paste in the script. So you're going to replace this over here. If you didn't rename the data table and it's still to-dos, then you just leave this as is. On the page itself, you are going to need to add the following elements in order to make this work. Firstly, you are going to have a container for your to-do list, and that's going to have the attribute of data MS code to-do container. Within this container, you are going to have a form, and that's going to have the attribute of data MS code to-do form. Within the form, you are going to have an input field and a submit button. The input field will have the attribute of data MS code to do input, and the button will be data MS code to do add button. Within the container, you are also going to make sure that you have a to-do list, which will have the attribute of data MS code to do list. And then you're going to have an item, and the script is going to clone this item for each and every to-do list item. This item is also going to be set to display none initially, but for demo purposes, I'll set this to display flex. The item will also have the attribute of data MS code to do item template. Within this template item, you are going to have a checkbox, and that's going to have the attribute of data MS code to do checkbox. The text is going to be to do text, and then the button is going to be to do delete. And once you've set that up, just click on the item and then set that back to display none. Within the container, you are also going to make sure that you have an empty state, and that empty state is going to have the attribute of to do empty. All right. Another thing you need to set up is the delete modal. And over here, that is also set to display none. And just set that back to display flex for testing purposes. This modal overlay is going to have the attribute of data MS code to do delete modal. And then within that, the actual delete modal will have the attribute of delete modal. And then you are going to have a div for all of your buttons, which will be over here, which will be data MS code delete modal actions. And you'll have a cancel button with the attribute of to do delete cancel. And then the delete button, which will be to do delete confirm. Once you've set all of this up, what you'll do is now click on the overlay over here and just make sure that is set back to display none. Once you've set all of this up, you now have a simple to-do list application using Memberstack's data tables. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out in the Slack 2.0 channel. Bye.